The Sisters of Hvitavellir. There has long been a flourishing farm on Hvitavellir in Borgarfjörður. At one time, a couple lived there and prospered. The husband was calm, careful, and well-liked. The wife was hardworking and proud of their success, but she was considered overbearing. The couple had 3 daughters, Helga, Guðrún, and Kristín, each a year apart in age. The sisters were close but competitive, and each longed to outshine the other. At the time this story took place, the sisters were eligible and sought after for marriage. It did not hurt that their parents were well off, and the daughters could expect a fine inheritance. Many hopeful suitors asked for their hand in marriage, but they were all rejected. The sisters feared that the first one to accept a proposal would end up with a lesser husband than the sisters who followed. Thus, several years went by, and the parents grew increasingly anxious about the behavior of their daughters. Then it came to pass that the farmer at Hvitavellir died long before his time. Sometime after the funeral, the mother called the daughters to her and said,
"I have decided to split the inheritance into 3 shares to be divided between you. One condition follows, and it is that you find yourselves husbands and get married in a joint ceremony on Easter Day the next year. I realize full well that you all want to acquire Hvitavellir, but it is not fair that the one who secures the best husband should also get the best land. Thus, the one who ends up with the worst husband will get Hvitavellir. The others will get Hegstaðir and Grímastaðir, which are also good lands in the area. And that way there will only be a short distance between you. I will decide how you fare in your choice of husbands, and then I will live with the one who remains here at Hvitavellir."
The mother looked at her daughters, and they looked at each other with the wilder expressions. Then she added,
"I don't want conflict and competition to result in 3 spinsters living at Hvitavellir after my time has come. A good marriage matters more than where the home is located."
The daughters shoveled their feet hesitantly, and so their mother repeated,
"Do you agree that a good husband matters more than the land in which one lives?"
They looked at one another and agreed, although rather reluctantly. Soon after, the sisters began looking around for husbands. Since so many suitors from the western region had already proposed to them, it was agreed that Guðrún would search in the northern region, Helga would search in the eastern region, and Kristín in the southern region. They all said they intended to find a kind and intelligent man, but they had other plans in mind. "I will acquire Hvitavellir," they each thought to themselves, "even if I have to pay for it with a stupid husband." Easter soon drew near, and the sisters had all chosen a husband-to-be. However, they did not want to introduce their mother or each other to their prospective husbands. They arrived at Hvitavellir the day before Easter, and kept to the bridal rooms which had been prepared for each sister. The eldest sister, Helga, had chosen a man who was known in his district for his intense longing to sing. The problem with that was that he had an exceptionally dreadful singing voice and was tone-deaf to boot. Helga said to her husband-to-be,
"When you walk through the church doors and we walk down the aisle, you are to sing as much as you can and not stop until I say so."
He agreed. Meanwhile, Guðrún's groom noticed her working something in her hands as if she were weaving. He was curious and asked,
"What are you doing, my dear?"
"I'm spinning gossamer," she said, "which you are to wear on Easter Day. It is so fine and thin that it can be neither seen nor felt. You shall wear it when we get married in the church."
The man peered at the material his wife was spinning, but did not see anything. Gudrun convinced him that nobody, neither in the past nor the future, could ever boast such a beautiful and finely knit suit. After that, the groom was delighted with his wedding attire. The third sister, Kristin, approached the matter with her groom.
Tomorrow, when you wake up, you will be dead. You will be able to hear and see, but you will have to lie stock still and do everything as I say. I had a coffin built for you, which you will lie in and be brought to church. You have to believe and trust me, for what I tell you is true.
He had objections at first, but she was so persistent in the matter that he complied and agreed to the plan on the condition that a hole be drilled in the coffin through which he could see. The old turf church in Kvinnamerja was full. People came from all over the district to attend Easter Mass. Word had spread about the impending marriage of the Kvitavetler sisters, and people were curious to get a glimpse of the husbands they had chosen after having rejected so many worthy young men from the western region. The churchgoers were astonished when they saw a coffin beside the altar. It was whispered around that one of the prospective grooms was lying in the coffin. Just as people were wondering whether they should give congratulations or condolences, another husband-to-be came storming into the church, singing and bellowing as if he had lost his senses, and everyone marveled. He was followed by the third groom, dressed in the fine gossamer and beside himself with joy over his wedding suit. The churchgoers could not make head or tail of the situation. Some were filled with indignation, but most could not contain themselves and burst into laughter over this tomfoolery. The priest walked to the altar and tried to calm the congregation. Then he noticed the corpse in the coffin peeping through the hole, and the corpse spoke so that everyone in the church could hear,
Now I would laugh if only I weren't dead.
The mother had come to the church full of anticipation over meeting her prospective son-in-law. She recognized now how dire the situation was and how mistaken she had been in promising the best land to the worst husband. She looked at her daughters mournfully and said,
You have gone about choosing your husbands badly.
Then she looked over at the three men who stood together in dejection on the other side of the church, and back at her daughters, adding,
Slow and prudent wins the race. It is difficult to say who has behaved more foolishly, you sisters or your husbands-to-be.
As she spoke this, she gasped loudly and clutched the armrest of a church pew. Her legs gave in and she collapsed. She continued to cave in until she laid curled up in the pew. All eyes rested on her and awkward glances reigned in the church. Her body twitched and a stifled sound was heard. The churchgoers looked at the three daughters, who looked at each other and then at their prospective husbands. Nobody dare move or make a sound. The twitching coming from the matron of Kvitavetler increased until she rose up again, and it became apparent that her eyes were filled with tears of laughter. The people in the church slowly joined in on the laughter, except the three daughters who stood with their heads downcast. The mother gazed at them through tears and gasped for breath as though she could not stop laughing. After a while, she clutched her chest, her face turned red and puffy, and she became contorted. The three imbeciles slapped their thighs and laughed loudest of all when their mother-in-law-to-be dropped dead on the church floor. There is often a thin line between life and death.